So good afternoon, good morning, depending where in the world you happen to be, or good evening. Thank you very much for joining our very first summit here at Leaders2Give. We hope to host more of these sessions in the future. Without further ado, I'm going to share my screen now so we have some visuals. The visuals you will be seeing today as I'm speaking and as Ian is speaking, they're all on our website. So you'll be able to go to the website anytime and see everything that we're talking about today. So just bear with me a moment and I'll share my screen. And can everybody see my screen now? Can you see it, Ian?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to turn off my camera so we're not all distracted. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So in November of last year, we sent out a survey to our donors, an anonymous survey to our donors and community members. And we got some really great feedback and great information about how Leaders2Give as a nonprofit is perceived and about what is important to people as far as making a difference goes. Shortly thereafter, all the board members got together for a 2-day in-person intensive to review those results and to get very clear on who we are. And you can see us all together here at Phyllis's house, one of our board members in the Baja. It was a beautiful day. And we wanted to get very clear on who we are and how to best serve our donors, our partners, and our beneficiaries. So that's the first thing we want to share with you today is why Leaders2Give exists and what our goal is. Second is how to maximize the impact of your support by taking advantage of the many ways we have for you to donate, some of which eliminate all third-party fees and others that actually increase your tax deduction value. Some of these you may not know about or didn't even realize existed. And the third thing is we want you to learn more about our goal to build and operate a new children's home in El Cardinal, Mexico, including an update on when we intend to break ground and hold our on-site party, which is very exciting. But before we dig into those three things, I just want to let everyone know again, we are recording this session. We will share it with you via email in case you want to review anything that was discussed or share with your friends, your family, or your colleagues. A couple housekeeping items before we start. In the bottom of the screen is a chat function. If you want to ask questions as we go through the material, feel free to post them there so that we can review the questions and provide answers. We'd like to go through the material and then take questions at the end. So as questions come to mind, please put them in the chat. And also make sure you're signed up for our newsletter updates by going to subscribe to our newsletter on our website. We share really important and informative updates monthly, and it's the best way to stay current. So without further ado, my name is Adam Greenberg. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of Leaders2Give. We are a US 501c3 nonprofit, and we're registered in the state of California. And Leaders2Give was founded in order to protect vulnerable children in developing communities and communities in crisis. Much of the work we do is in Mexico, but we have also engaged in supporting and protecting vulnerable children in Canada, the United States, and in other parts of the world. I think it's important to note as well that we have an all-volunteer board of directors. This consists of 9 incredibly dedicated and generous people. And this organization, it simply would not exist without their commitment and passion every single day. You can learn more about each of the board members by going to the website and clicking on Read Bio. And there's some good information. You get to know some of the people that stand behind Leaders2Give in this project. And again, I want to emphasize that it's an all-volunteer board. The majority of these people work full-time. Several of them have no property in Mexico and no other business interests at all. They're just compassionate people that have come together through our personal and professional networks, and they understand there's a need and they want to help. You know, a lot has changed at Leaders2Give since the organization was founded in 2019, namely COVID. The onset of this pandemic completely changed our organization. As a result of the pandemic, numerous community groups and area nonprofits reached out to us for support. And they did this because they had historically relied on in-person fundraising events to cover the costs of the important work they do. Now, whether that's, we'll just go up here, whether that's providing a home for abused children, such as at Nuevo Creacion, whether it's granting scholarships to help kids pursue an education, whether it's the Eastgate Guild, whether it's providing health coverage to local families or to families who can't afford it, or whether it's something that we take for granted, like just putting food on the table. These community groups do very important work. And when we were approached, the Board of Leaders to Give very much wanted to help. And due to the onset of COVID and the closing of in-person events, they needed a way to engage their donor base and to attract new supporters. And so they looked to Leaders to Give. And we did help proudly. We rallied our fundraising machinery. We invested in tools and systems to help automate the issuance of thank you letters and tax receipts. Prior, this was all done one at a time, touching 3 different people, the very manual process. And as a result of accepting new partners, we had to create a real partner ecosystem for communications. Our accounting requirements became increasingly complex, and we had to invest in other tools. We had to streamline our processes and more. And as a volunteer board, it was pretty much brought us to capacity. We also wanted to find a way to ensure that more of our donors' funds went directly to the causes of which they wanted to support. And our board treasurer, Ian Gibson, is co-presenting with me today. He's going to walk you through all of these options after my opening remarks. As the COVID emergency subsided, we also knew, though, besides supporting these great community groups, that it was important to define who Leaders to Give is and have a clearly established goal in mind. And that goal is to build a temporary home for children on donated land in El Cardinal while their families are experiencing a medical crisis. On our website, you can see it here as a short video which outlines in detail the story which I'm going to share with you now. I'll share it at a high level, but the video is 5 minutes and it gives you all the detail that you would want. But at a high level, several years ago, I was approached by an American family who owns property in El Cardinal and has owned that property for 20 or 30 years. So they're very entrenched in the community. Like many of us who live part-time in Mexico, this American family became close with their neighbors and is engaged in the Mexican community. One of their Mexican neighbors is Belen, and her teenage daughter, Maria, was fighting leukemia. Obviously, that's heartbreaking. I think many of us have been touched by cancer. I'm personally a cancer survivor. My father is currently being treated for leukemia, so I can certainly relate to the anguish. It's important to note, though, that the community in El Cardinal is a very tight-knit community. Proudly, they will attest to looking after their own. They do. This community rallied to ensure that Maria had all the support she needed to fight this horrible illness. Now, while Maria was getting treatment, her mom, Belen, met another mom at the treatment center. Her name was Giovanna, and she was there with her son, her 4-year-old son, Caleb, getting treatment for the same disease. Giovanna is a single mother of 5 kids. And she's not from El Cardinal. She's from Los Cabos, and specifically the slums of Los Cabos. These 2 moms bonded over their fight to support their children and became friends. And I share this because while it is that Maria and Belen celebrate today, Maria has built her illness. She's back at home with her family in El Cardinal. Giovanna's not so fortunate. Her son Caleb died from his illness, and Giovanna still lives in the slums today with her 4 other children. Again, just at a high level, I wanted to share that, but I encourage you to watch the video in full, which again is right on our website. So after speaking with DIF, and that's the government-run organization responsible for child and family welfare, and with the local medical community, we've spoken with a nonprofit called FitCam, which exclusively serves women living in poverty. Mostly it's single mothers in places like the slums of San Jose in the Los Cabos area. The type of community support that was available for Maria in Belen and El Cardinal, we're told, and it sounds obvious, but we were told it makes all the difference for families experiencing a medical crisis. And that all too often, families, usually single mothers, have to abandon their children to seek treatment for themselves or a sick child, or they have to go without seeking treatment at all. Oops. Okay. So this is the reason for Leaders2Give's goal, to build a temporary home for children while their families are experiencing a medical crisis. The El Cardinal Children's Home will be located on a small parcel of land. It's a donated property on a paved road across from a hotel. It's close to restaurants, schools, and a small health clinic. Now, it's just far enough out of the larger tourist destination to be a safe and controlled environment, and yet it's close enough to have all of the services necessary to properly sustain an operation such as this. We received 3 bids for construction, and our most recent cost estimates suggest it's going to cost around $750,000 US dollars to build, furnish, and sustain the home for 3 years. Capital construction costs, which were initially estimated to be around $300,000 when we first started planning this project pre-COVID, have increased to be closer to $500,000 today. That's just the capital construction costs. We also estimate approximately $50,000 per year to sustain its operations. And I know this because I've been and Leaders2Give as well, since it was founded, has been supporting and sustaining a similar children's home in La Paz for many years, personally for about a decade. So we understand the cost of sustainment, and this $50,000 I mentioned includes paid staff. Appliance and furniture make up the rest. However, we do hope to work with donations to furnish the home versus buying everything new. So I just want to point out that $750,000, it's a fully loaded cost scenario. It includes some contingencies. To date, we've raised approximately $130,000, and once we get closer to the $200,000, or roughly, getting close to half the capital building costs, we will break ground. And we're close. We have various means of fundraising. I just want to talk briefly about how we raise the fund, because I'm often told that this community, there's too much need, people are stretched. Most of the money we've received for this project actually has come from outside the community, from our professional personal networks, like I said, including board members who have no property in Los Barriles. So I want to dispel the notion that we're taking from other causes to put here. We're actually very cooperative and collaborative and doing as much as we can for the community, trying to be creative to pull funds from outside of the community. And we do this in a few different ways. So we appeal to our newsletter, to our supporters via our monthly newsletter. So again, please register for that. We host fundraisers and auctions, and we apply for grants. At the bottom here, you can see El Cardinal Children's Home Information Packet. That's a complete business plan, which lists all the details around these costs, if you're curious. So speaking of fundraiser, we have a very large fundraiser. We're calling it a Garden Luau, a pouring for purpose. On June 12th from 2 to 5 p.m., this is our largest fundraiser of the year. It's at the Stephen Kent Winery in Livermore, California. Stephen Kent is the oldest winery in Livermore Valley, and the 6th generation winemaker, Stephen Kent Marisu, has won numerous accolades. He boasts several 100-point wines in his portfolio. It's a great family. They've got roots in Los Barriles, and just really, really generous. And we're excited about the event. Tickets to the event include a pig roast, upmarket appetizers, and several glasses of Stephen's award-winning wines. Attendees will even get a sneak peek at an upcoming vintage, not yet released. I'm personally very excited about that. The property has space for 125 people, and we're really hoping to sell out. And we're going to send the link to all attendees after today's webinar. And I'd really like to thank Stephen and the Marisu family and the Nancy and the marketing team, and just all their incredible staff for their generous support with this event, donating time, money, wine, food, the space itself, and more. And I mentioned an auction. We also have, and currently it's live, an online auction with some incredible items available for bidding, including luxury vacation stays at hotels, at resorts, at private villas. And again, the auction is live now, so check it out. There's award-winning art, autographed portraits, big screen TVs, guided tours, and much more. Not just in Mexico, but all over. There's a architectural tour in Chicago. There's a kayak guiding tour on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia, Canada. So no matter where you are, check it out and take a look. I believe if we're able to sell all the items on the auction, and if we sell out for the event, we're going to have the money we need to break ground this summer. And if we don't, we just need to attract some more donations. I'll mention that naming rights are available for the home or for one of the buildings. So if you're have the means and you'd be a beautiful legacy, if you're interested, just reach out to me or any board member. We'll be happy to talk to you about that. Now, speaking of donations, we know that it's sometimes difficult to know if your hard-earned money is really going to the cause for which it's intended. At Leaders2Give, because we operate as volunteers, 96% of every dollar goes directly to the cause which you support. Now, that's less any fees from financial institutions, but what we control in terms of our costs, very, very low. There is 4% kind of operational costs that we have to incur, but because we're all volunteers, there's no salaries paid to anybody. All the money goes to this causes you want to support, whether it's a partner or not. And for this reason, we know it's important to avoid third-party fees wherever possible. And so I've asked our board treasurer, Ian Gibson, to walk you through all of the options for making a donation. Again, all of this information is located directly on our website for future reference. So please visit our website. Remember to sign up for our newsletters for all the latest ways to donate, because it's always changing, and there's so much more available there. So with that said, why don't I pass it over to you, Ian, to walk us through your material and donation options.
Fantastic, Adam. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm getting choked up already. That's not a good sign. I'm going to start with sharing my screen. Can you all see that? Adam, can you see it?
Yep, we got it.
All right, perfect. So I know that Adam covered this, and so I'm just going to kind of, because this is passionate, I'm very passionate about this, I'm going to do some very quick repeat of it. You know, our purpose is largely to protect vulnerable children. And so you'll see that many of our efforts are involving children, but it's not limited to children. Our mission is to inspire, teach, empower. I'm not going to read the whole thing. For me, the word that resonates is inspire. I mean, if we inspire people to become leaders, that really is the key to sustainability, right? And so that's a key thing for us. As we inspire, Leaders2Give partners with some amazing organizations. Here we have, and I know that Adam again touched on these. We have also Los Burros Food Bank was one that was really our first partner. We were adding SNAP, and so we have a lot of organizations that we're helping. And we firmly believe that, as Adam mentioned, we're a collaborative organization. I believe that all ships rise in the rising tides. So anyone that we help helps us all. We all do this together. Now, a key thing of that, we all do this together, the fuel to our causes come from donations and donors. There's not much we really can do without the donations and donors. And what do the donors want? Fast and easy. Ultimately, we'll take donations in so many ways. I've even met someone down at El Viejo to pick one up. The best way to receive the donation is however the donor wants to make it. And we have a number of means to make those donations, and we are currently working on adding more means. They also want money going to their cause. And, these aren't in any priority. for one donor, it's going to be fast and easy. Another one's going to be the tax benefit, and the other one's going to be, what cause it is. And some people will make the donation and ask that we just make the donation to, apply the money to where we think is best needed. But the donors who want their money going to the cause, a key part of that is limiting and reducing the fees. If they make a $10,000 donation, they don't want half of it going to it. They don't want it being reduced by the third-party fees like PayPal, etc. And they don't want heavy administration fees. And so we've worked to reduce these fees. We've negotiated with PayPal to reduce the PayPal fee. We've introduced ways to donate without incurring any third-party fees. And as Adam mentioned, that we've added a 4% fee. We recently added that. We are a 100% volunteer organization, but we are starting to automate some of our tasks. So, as we're adding more causes and we're doing more transactions, we fortunately are seeing more donations come in. Something like sending out the receipts is currently a very manual task. It involves 3 people. I start off with identifying who donated what for what cause. Then another one of our team members, Deb Lawson, prepares all the receipts, and then Adam sends them all out. And so, that effort, it's not a huge effort, but it's something that it's, as we are right now, it's not really scalable, and so we're automating it. And so those efforts become costly, and so the fees will apply to that. Our fees are 4%. That is very much on the lower scale within the leaders within the charity industry. An organization such as Doctors Without Borders charges 12 to 13%. American Red Cross, it's about 10%. Nature Conservatory is about 30%. Locally, ICF uses the sliding scale. It's from 10% down to 7%, depending on the amount of donation. And then lastly, donors are looking for a tax benefit. And so Leaders2Give provides the 501c3 receipt, which is applicable to US taxpayers and more. So we also work with donors to get the most out of their tax benefit. And I'm going to get into that by jumping into the Leaders2Give donation screen. So I moved to the Leaders2Give website, and if you click on donate, you see the E's and the fees and taxes, which I just kind of touched on, but you see all the the numerous ways that donations can be made. So, PayPal, credit card, Zelle, etc. PayPal is easy. It's fast. It does, we do have the roughly 2.5% donation. You click on it. There's some quick information. You then click on donate now. You select how much money you want to contribute. I'm just going to do $100 for the time being. You select your cause, and here are all the causes that we have in here. And again, I mentioned SNAP will be added to this organization, to this list. And you can add to the your donation to cover the cost of the third-party fee. You can also make this a monthly and donate. Then you can do the same thing with credit card. Zelle was something that we added where it has 0 fees. So from a bank that is like Charles Schwab or Wells Fargo, whatever, you can do a transfer from your bank account to our bank account, and there are 0 fees. It's fast. It has some limitations. Depending on your bank, it may be up to $5,000, but again, there's 0 fees. And so for a transaction of $5,000, you're not being hit by the let's say the 2.5%. So there's, trying to do the math on that, that would be $100. Yeah, but a little over, about $150. Wire transfers, again, there are no fees. And this is a very common transaction for someone who's donating $10,000. We've even had, more than that. And again, there are zero fees. Check, again, zero fees, easy. You can call us up, we'll meet you at El Viejo, or you can send it to our corporate address, and that will then be deposited. We're starting to see some people reach out to their employer and ask if they will make it a matching to the donation. And we love that. And our cause that we're benefiting loves it. We have a relatively new thing of donating securities. So if someone has shares of Apple that they have had for a long time that has appreciated in value, and this goes back to what kind of tax benefits can you receive by working with Leaders to Give. Here's an example of if someone were to donate $50,000 and that the cost of the stock that they've had, they purchased that stock for $30,000. They save almost $5,000 by donating the stock rather than donating the cash. So in the cash environment, they would have to sell the $50,000 worth of stock. They would pay $4,700 of capital gains. The donation would be of $50,000, and the total out-of-pocket cost to them would be almost $55,000. Now, at the end of this, they would get the tax benefit of donating the $50,000, and depending on your tax bracket, that $50,000 could be about $13,000 worth of tax benefit. Similarly, if you didn't have to sell that stock, but you transferred it, it cost you nothing in capital gains because you didn't sell it. You then have the donation of the $50,000, and the out-of-pocket cost to you was the $50,000. But you then still get the donation benefit of making that $50,000, which again, depending on your tax bracket, might be a $13,000. So your end benefit could be around $8,000 or $9,000 versus $13,000 for your taxes. I hope that made sense, and if it didn't, please reach out to me. I'm happy to go through more detail into that. Just one other scenario of, I'm in discussion with one individual who is considering making a donation of some stock that they have owned for a long time, and so the cost basis is next to zero, which further changes the scenario where it will impact them to the tune of $20,000. So not only is someone interested in making sure that their money is going to the cause, but they want to not be penalized for making the donation. Another thing that we're getting out there is that people can make an IRA donation. And at the end of the year, when people hit a certain age, they're required to take out money out of their IRAs. It's called the required minimum distribution. And so someone who has an IRA is taking out that required distribution. And then depending on the type of IRA, they pay taxes on that disbursement. And so rather than making that disbursement to themselves, they can make the disbursement to a charitable organization such as Leaders to Give. And again, because we then provide the receipt and the proper paperwork, they do not get taxed on that donation. And then in addition, they get the benefit of making the donation and getting the tax benefit of that donation. So again, it's a double benefit of making the donation with that type of funding. And then lastly, for donor advised funds is another entity. It's a type of donation management where someone may have had a large windfall of money and they are not ready to make the entire donation, but they may take a significant portion of that windfall of money and make a donation to a fund that they are intending to use at a later date. So they're still in control of when those funds get donated, but those donations can only go to a charitable organization. So they would like to make the donation to someone like the East Cape Guild or Feed the Hungry or any of our the East Cape Health Center, any of our partnered organizations. But because none of those are registered as a U.S. recognized charitable organization, they can't directly make that donation, but they can through Leaders2Give. And so we get a number of donations through these type of funds. As I mentioned, we are working to add more to this list. Venmo and PayPal are, again, very common ways for money being transferred. And there are more means that are coming. Just those two are in the active works, and so will be added to this list fairly soon. So
Thanks.
That was the fast and easy money going to the cause and the tax benefit. It really comes down to questions. Adam, is this where you were going to go to?
Yeah, that was very thorough. Let me take people off mute. I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but give people a chance if they have questions to ask them here. I'm going to remove the mute and allow folks to talk. I'd say if you're not going to speak, though, just stay on mute so we don't get feedback. I think this is.
And I'll toss out there that, again, if you have a question and you want to deal with me individually, I'm happy to. I see a question that came up on the Q&A.
Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, let's see. Would it be possible to support financially the teaching of English for the Nuevo Creacion children? I could leave my second job in the afternoons and gladly work with them. Teaching and empower is part of Leaders2Give mission, isn't it? I see that as Mario. Mario has dropped from the call, I believe. Are you still on the call? Oh, Mario's on the call here still. Yeah, for sure, Mario. Teaching children and helping them with English is critically important. I'm not sure if you're looking to be paid for that work or to volunteer, but if you'd like to reach out to me offline, we can certainly talk about it because that's very, very beneficial. I think they recognize that. We have our volunteer coordinator, Shelley Abner, on the call, and I know that Shelley has arranged for volunteers to go and teach English in the past. So we do that today, and we welcome your support. Thank you for your question. Any other questions live? I've unmuted folks, but they're on mute themselves maybe as well.
And again, I would leave out there that if you're looking for just one-on-one conversation, I'm happy to do so via phone or reach out to me via email, and I'm happy to work with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Well, folks, if there's no questions, we can give you back half your day. I want to thank everybody for attending. I want to thank you for your generosity and support of these great causes. And we will send out a follow-up with a link to the recording and remind you to subscribe to our newsletter. And if we'd love to see you in California, and remember, there's some great items to bid on and more to follow on our groundbreaking and our groundbreaking party in 2022 on the Elkhart Mill site. Thank you for your time today, and take good care.